Hi there, and thanks for coming back for another video. If you were watching the last couple of videos that I had made, we had done a full system and memory reset on this RC600, and then we proceeded to turn off all of the functionality of all of the buttons on modes 1, 2, and 3 on board the RC600, with the exception being mode select, so I can get to modes 1, 2, and 3, and on mode 1 there's an all start stop here on switch number 9. And my external foot switches I also had turned off, and in the next video we set these foot switches on my FS6 to be able to scroll up and down through the different tracks so that I can choose a track, and then I have a play record and a stop and clear foot switch right here. So we had rudimentary functionality that I would be able to start using the RC600 with all 6 buttons on all 3 modes available to do anything else that I wanted. Anyway, you may have noticed at the end of that video that I didn't hit save my changes. And the reason for that was because by default, all foot switch settings and assignments for controls, they are all system settings, and so you don't really have to save those changes. They are automatically locked in so that when you shut down the power or leave the memory and come back, all of those settings are still there, and they are in all of the memories. All 99 memories have that same setting. In this video, we're going to change that, and we'll see what happens when you change settings from global or system to per memory. So, having a closer look at the LCD screen, we're going to hit Menu, and I'm going to go into Input and Setup. We'll start here. The first few settings are okay as these settings. Phantom power is off because I don't have any condenser mics that I'll be using in this series. Gain level is set for instrument level, and that means bass or guitar or some other instrument that may have a piezoelectric pickup or internal microphones. The only other option is line level, and I'm not going to be plugging in any keyboards for now, synthesizers or anything else. I'm just going to be using guitar, bass, acoustic guitar, electric guitar, and that sort of thing. So instrument level is what I want for gain level. Scrolling over, I have stereo link. By default, the mic stereo link is off because most people are going to have 2 singers or 2 different microphones that are connected to different kinds of equipment. And you can turn it on, but we'll be leaving it off. For microphones, stereo link typically is off for most people. And for myself, stereo link for instrument 1 will be off, as well as instrument 2 will be off. Now, we're going to scroll over to Preferences, and currently System is what everything is set to, and I'm going to change that right now. I'm going to change my microphone settings to per memory, instrument 1 per memory, and instrument 2 settings per memory. And the reason for that is I'm going to be doing so many different configurations on this RC600 that it makes more sense for me to have everything saved per memory rather than global settings. There's going to be too many different variations that I'll be walking through and setting up. Also, I'll be making templates that I would save from one template memory over to another working memory, and so all of the settings would be transferred over anyway. So for me, everything makes sense to have set per memory. Now let's back up a little bit here, and you'll see stereo link has been turned on again. Now how did they end up back on? It's because we changed from global system settings to per memory settings, and so now everything has been set to the default settings again as being per memory. So when you do this, if I were to just exit and leave, I wouldn't have noticed that all the settings went back to what they previously were. Now that I've gone to per memory settings, I would have to now make all of those changes all over again. So if you're going to be saving per memory, you should do that first before you do anything else. So I'm going to change those back to off. I'm going to scroll back over. Those are fine. And I'm going to exit here now. And I'm going to now go into Menu and Output and Setup. And what we found out, we should first go over to Preferences and turn everything to per memory before you do anything else. So let's proceed and do that. My outputs, I'm going to be doing so many different configurations that everything for me should be set to per memory. So rhythm and master effects as well. So my outputs, headphones, everything now is set to per memory. Now it's okay to go ahead and turn off stereo link on my outputs for this memory. Well, if you were in your studio working at home, it might be okay to have your main outputs stereo link on. That gives you a left and right output stereo field. But if you're out at a gig, at a show, and you want to give the sound man your output from your device, what you should do is give him just one line. And that's why on the outputs, you'll see main / main left, main right, and the main left usually / mono. So that's if you're not going to use a stereo field, you should use the left output first. And there's a reason for that that we'll get into in a future video. So if you're going to a gig, turn your stereo link off and just give one output, because in a pub or a bar or a concert environment, they're not broadcasting in stereo. They're broadcasting in mono on both sides of the stage. Those speaker towers are a mono signal. Because stereo effects don't work in a huge area, in a large space, the only people that may notice a stereo effect are the people sitting in the middle of the room anyway, in front of the stage. Everyone else is not going to be aware of stereo effects. So, stereo link off for the purpose of this video. And I'm scrolling over. The preferences are already turned to per memory. And backing out, there is one more place that we should go. And where we go next is going to shed a lot of light on what happens behind the scenes when you switch from system to per memory. I'm going to save that for the next video because this video is already long enough as is. So I'm going to wrap it up here. And remember, now that we've changed to per memory and done some changes, we do have to write and save. So if you haven't already, please hit like and subscribe. And you'll notice in the description below, you could actually buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/theMichaelsphere. So that's all for now. Have yourself a good night, and I will hopefully see you in the next video. Bye now.